This is a good moment to do some test rendering if you didn't do it before. And you might see something like this, which simply means you have geometry on top of the geometry. So to fix that, select the part that gives you a hard time, go into the edit mode. I'm gonna also go into the wireframe and I'll select vertices mode, and I'll select all of it, and there is my pivot point, so I'm gonna drag it down and align it to it. So if I come now to 0 and if I render, there shouldn't be any geometry overlapping, right? And if I want to go back here, tab, I can just drag this one because they're and align everything nicely, and that should look good and there shouldn't be any problems. If you want to add additional geometry, go for it. What I want to do now is to add the numbers. So right click on your watch, Shift S to snap, cursor to selected. That means my cursor will be nicely positioned in the center, which will help now because I do Shift A to add my text. So my text is nicely aligned and starting with 0, 0, 0 position. So go into the edit mode. Using delete on a keyboard, you can delete the text. Come here under F, fonts, find the fonts you want. Mine is, I can find mine under library/font/Microsoft. I found Times New Roman. I can use that one. And now I can start typing 1, 2, 3, and so on. Oops. I keep 3 spaces between each of these, but I put 4 spaces at the beginning because one is very thin, just one character, so it kind of helps later on with alignment. If I go back into the object mode, I can extrude my text, and you can actually see that here or here. So if I'm extruding, you see how they're becoming more thick, and you can even move it a little bit later on. It helps to be on the surface of your object. All right, now let's go back here, and my cursor is still there. So if I say Shift A and add a curve and add a circle here, and that's my Bezier circle. I can scale a little bit if I want to. Now select back your font, come here and add the modifier, curve, and under objects select the Bezier curve, and it should, and if I hit S to scale, you can start unwrapping all these numbers and start positioning them nicely there. You can also go back into the fonts and change the size. So then go back to Bezier curve and hit S, scale. It's a little bit difficult to kind of see them, but I think somewhere there we are. I think more or less we are. And so 1 is across the 7. So maybe I'm gonna just scale just a touch. So I think, you see, that's always a hard time, and also it's difficult to get them inside. But I think we are there. So I'm gonna hit 0 and come here and render my image, and I think you should see them by now. So be sure that they are sitting on the top of the bottom of your watch. This side. So that's that, and this moment I can also quickly add my cylinder in the middle. So Shift A, and I won't put too much work in it. I'm gonna just scale it really nice and small. Come here, be sure it's there, and scale it even more. Something like that. And I can also do Shift A and add plane and scale it. And scale it X. And scale it Y. And then add subsurf. For example, something like that. Let me see where it is on the surface. So maybe something like that. 7. Shift D to duplicate. Before you rotate it, scale it Y. Scale it X. And Shift D, another one. Scale X even more. So now we have this one. Alright, so something like this. And then rotate this one. I can put it wherever I want. So just be sure that everything kind of looks logical as it is, including the time, right? And I can render and see if they're here. Okay, so that's good. And let's hit escape and 7. And I would like to Shift A, add a big plane, scale it large. All right, and with this, I think you can even scale it large, so just be sure to block. I think our modeling is pretty much there. Now let's just be sure that we position everything nicely. So let's go back here, 3, drag it a little bit down, come back to 0, render the image. All right, so I can start moving my camera and play with these parts and add something and so on. But for now, for my modeling, that's it. Next thing, I'm going to add materials, lights, and adjust the camera.